Destination Nerva, the first story in the first series of the Fourth Doctor Adventures in Big Finish, first released in 2 parts across CD and download on the 9th of January 2012, and written by Nicholas Briggs. Now, with the previous 2 Fourth Doctor stories that I reviewed from Big Finish, those being Wrath of the Iceni and Energy of the Daleks, I may have said that I wasn't exactly sure where these stories took place. However, this being the first story of this particular series, it does actually give a concrete answer as to when it happens, as Destination Nerva takes place directly after the events of Season 14, specifically the 1977 story, The Talons of Weng Chiang, as the Fourth Doctor, voiced once again by Tom Baker, and his companion Leela, voiced once again by Louis Jameson, are shown in the story to be departing Victorian London and saying goodbye to their new friends Jago and Lightfoot. To which their next trip in the TARDIS ends up taking them to Nerva Beacon, or as it's known at this point in time, Space Dock Nerva. Now this is both a kind of sequel and a prequel. I mean, because for the Doctor, he's been to this space station before, this of course being the same kind of space station that he visited in Season 12, in the stories The Ark in Space and Revenge of the Cybermen. However, these particular stories are also taking place prior to those events. Like, Space Dock Nerva is still a relatively new place, and it's still kind of teeming with crew members, and it's just kind of starting out, so it's also a kind of prequel to those events. However, they end up discovering something going very wrong, as a mysterious virus seems to be sweeping around the crew. It manages to get in and causes some major problems. So they have to try and find out what's going on. Along the way, they encounter a few characters, including Dr. Alison Foster, a medical officer voiced by Raquel Cassidy, Laura Krask, a technician voiced by Tilly Gaunt, Giles Moreau, voiced by Tim Bentink, and Jim Hooley, voiced by Kim Wall. But what they eventually discover to be the cause of the virus was a set of Victorians. Now, certainly the Victorian who was kind of in charge of everything is Lord Jack Corrigan, voiced by Tim Treloar. And in 1895, he and his crew, including Henry McMullen, voiced by Sam Graham, in the late 19th century, during the height of the British Empire, they managed to discover an alien ship, specifically a Drellerin ship. And, well, they were able to take command of the Drellerin ship, and they planned to kind of capture or claim large areas of outer space and for the British Empire. Which, yeah, as the Doctor would say in other adventures, typical Victorian values, to try and claim stuff of the British Empire. So much so that they eventually ended up enslaving large numbers of Drellerins. Until eventually the Drellerins decided, no, they'd had enough, so they infected the humans with a deadly virus. However, Lord Jack Corrigan planned to take the virus back to Earth and use it probably against humanity and use it for the British Empire's own gains. Now, it's important to also mention that Lord Jack Corrigan and his crew, from the technology they discovered from the Drellerin ship, they also discovered how to extend their own lifespan. So, while yes, they are infected with a virus, they've been able to live hell of a long time, and they're still planning to infect as many people as they can. So it's down to the Doctor, Leela, and the crew to find a way to stop the virus and ultimately return Nerva Beacon back to where it should be. Now, overall, I think this story was a little complicated for me, where it was a little bit difficult in places for me to figure out what was going on, but then in part 2, when they start getting into a lot of the details, I found it relatively easy to follow. So part 1 was a little messy in setting things up, but part 2, I think that's where the story really came into its own and really did a good job. Now, of course, this particular story, they did well. I will say, it's not my favourite. I think of the Fourth Doctor stories that I've reviewed so far, the 3 that I have reviewed, I think possibly my favourite would go to Energy of the Daleks. But anyway, that's just me. I mean, I've still got at least 3 more stories to listen to from this particular series. But Destination Nerva, I think, give it a listen for yourself, make your own decision on it. I thought it was alright. Not my favourite, but I'll give it a good pass on that. Now, I think I did say with Wrath of the Senai that you could only tell from their voices that Tom Baker and Louise Jameson, you could definitely hear it's been a while for them. And I think with this story, being the first story of this big series, once again, they take a little while to get going, but when they hit their stride, then it's beautiful. And it shows just how strong the partnership between the Fourth Doctor and Leela truly was. Well, what are your thoughts on Destination Nerva? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, the next story that I'll probably be reviewing is The Renaissance Man. What I think of that? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Till next time, see ya.